Gotta love the reverse camera. They're looking gorgeous, they're smelling gorgeous, they need more color. If you're looking for some really easy meal prep ideas, you've come to the right place. Today I'm going to share with you some of my go-to recipes and methods for making meal prep super easy so that you can stay on track throughout the week and meet those fitness goals that you've been planning. Okay, so the first few things that we're going to do is a few things that are very hands-off. So we're going to make sweet potatoes. We're going to make a whole pan of sweet potatoes and some chicken in the crock pot. Okay, so this is the easiest way ever to make sweet potatoes. I am actually just using a pan that I used earlier for making some turkey bacon, so I have a piece of parchment on here. The parchment is very important because you don't want to ruin your pan with the natural sugars that come out of sweet potatoes. I literally am not doing anything to these sweet potatoes because you don't need to. The natural sugars developed with this method, and I promise you, they're amazing and they taste like candy. You're literally just going to put the sweet potatoes uncut, you don't need to put a fork in them or anything. Just put them on the pan, and we have our oven preheating to 400 right now. Once that comes up to 400, I'm going to place this pan of sweet potatoes on the parchment right into the hot oven. Now this cooks at the 400 degrees for about an hour or so, but I actually don't want you to rely solely on a time, because what you're going to do is you're going to wait until they literally smell like they're almost burning. And at that point, you'll notice that the skin actually, there's like a separation between the flesh on the inside and the skin. And it'll feel almost like a little bit of like a hollowness, like it's pulled away from it. And the outside is crunchy. And what that shows us is that not only are they done, but the natural sugars have developed inside of the potato, and they're naturally going to be sweet, and we literally don't have to add anything to them, and they're going to be super flavorful and really delicious. So we're going to pop these in. This is something we can just put in and forget about it, because again, we're going by smell anyway. So when they start to smell burnt, that's really the best time to pull them out. Now the next thing we're going to prep is chicken. We're just going to make chicken breasts in this crock pot over here. So I have this going on low. I just turned it on low. We're going to just spray the inside a little bit with some cooking spray, and we're just going to add some chicken breasts to that. Chicken breasts in a crock pot will naturally create their own water and juices, and so you do not need to add any additional liquids unless you want a marinade of some sort in there. I'm actually just going to season it, and then that just goes on low for like probably around 6 hours or so, give or take, depending on your crock pot and the size of your chicken breasts. The nice thing about this also is this is also something that we can start earlier in the day, and we don't even have to pay attention to it. It's just going to be happening in the background. These first two items are go-tos right away. If you want to trim any fat off your chicken breasts, go ahead and do so. I don't necessarily find it, unless there's some weird pieces on the end of them, I just kind of leave any of that on and pull it off when it's done cooking. Now I'm putting 8 chicken breasts in here. So I'm going to put the first layer of 4 in. I'm going to season the first layer, and then I'll add the next layer on top, and we'll season that as well. Okay, my go-to seasonings. It changes up a little bit each time. Today, I'm going to drop things on the counter. Today we're going to use Old Bay. I use Old Bay for so many things. It's a really nice basic seasoned salt, and it has a really strong celery seed flavor, and I just think that's so yummy. I'm going to use a little garlic. And we use that Old Bay. You can season it however much you want, obviously. Keep in mind when you're using salty things, you can always add more afterwards. If you make it too salty right away, you can't go back from that. So start with a little bit and then add more as you go. Add a little fresh ground black pepper. And then I also like to put in like a little squirt of something like mustard, just like a basic yellow mustard or a Dijon or something. It just brings out just a little bit of like a zestiness, which is kind of nice in some really simple basic chicken. All right. Just a little squirt, like seriously, not much. Just a little drizzle. That's maybe like a tablespoon or so. Then we'll put in our other chicken breast. So we actually raise our own chicken, but we're in the middle of winter. We've run out of like a chicken breast, and so we've just been buying some from the store. Typically, our local grocery store carries some Amish chicken breasts, but these ones are actually just from Hy-Vee. They're Just Bare is the brand, and I've actually never tried these ones. So this one's a new brand to me, but they seem like they're a good quality. It always grosses me out when you get some chicken breasts that are like really tendony and they just don't look great. And after you raise your own meat, I think there's a certain level of expectation when it comes to sourcing your meat. So if you can get some good quality sourced meat, always going to be better. I'm just going to pull these little tiny fat pieces off the end. Hi! Hi! Okay, so now that we have that second layer in there, we're just going to do, again, the seasoning that we did on that middle layer. Our Old Bay. Our garlic powder. Oh, thank you so much. And our fresh ground pepper. Got some chicken in there? We'll shred that up later? Mm-hmm. Put a little bit of this. A little tiny bit of mustard. Then should we put the lid on? Uh-huh. Ding, ding, ding. Got it. All right, so now that part's done. We'll come back to this later and we will shred it up. And it's going to be super nice and juicy and really versatile. So now that we've seasoned it super simple, we can turn this into anything. So I will put a bunch in my meals just like it is. And then some of them I'll probably end up adding like a barbecue sauce or something for my family to make like shredded barbecue chicken sandwiches or something like that. So it's a nice way to make something not only for your own meal prep, but if you want to make other things for your family or whatever. One of the things I did recently is actually make chicken enchiladas with it. So I took some of it out and added some like cumin and different like taco type seasonings, and I turned it into chicken enchiladas, and those were really good. Okay, so it is now 5:30 p.m. So that was about 5 hours that I cooked this chicken. And it is definitely ready to shred, and it just kind of falls apart. I'm going to show you up close. And it is ready for either eating tonight or packaging out. I always like to shred it and then let it sit in the juices for a little bit so that it really kind of like absorbs the juices. So I do let it kind of cool in there for a while, and that keeps it really nice and moist. So again, this is a really easy way to make some really juicy chicken without any added fats. Okay, so move all this stuff. All right, so here is the chicken. Now you're going to get a bunch of that steam coming at you. But I'm going to grab 2 forks and we're just going to shred this up. The 2-fork method works really well. We just shred this up. And again, see, there is so much juice in here. You do not need to add anything else. It created all its own juice. And again, it's going to be really nice and moist. Just shred it up. Let it sit and cool off in there. And then package it out whenever you have time. All right, so now I have it all shredded up and it's good to go. See, I'm tossing it in that juice down there. And as it's cooling, I'll just kind of keep tossing it in the juice and make sure the stuff on the top stays nice and juicy as well. And this, like I said, this cooked for about 5 hours. It was probably done around 4 hours. So if you do overcook it too much, this is actually the perfect texture. If you overcook it too much, it will kind of turn mushy if you overcook the chicken. So definitely don't do that. Oh, there's a chunk. I didn't even shred that piece. Look at that. I missed that one. But it's so easy to shred. Yum. Okay. Okay, so the sweet potatoes, we took those out and you can see how there's like space in here. So these are fully cooled off now. I actually turned the oven off, just let them cool off in the oven. But these, now they have space in there and they peel back really easily. And so what we're going to do, see all that like caramelization, that's natural sugars. And what we're smelling when we're waiting for these to cook is actually this burnt sugar. And sometimes it doesn't fully burn. It just kind of caramelizes on the edge like this. But that is just burnt sugar. And that's so key to getting these the right texture and flavor. And take all the sweet potatoes out of their jackets, put them in a bowl, mash them all up together, and I'm not adding anything to them. The natural sugars are enough to make it taste literally like we added a bunch of brown sugar, and we clearly didn't. And so that will be ready to package up with our chicken. So one of our meals is going to be the shredded chicken, the sweet potatoes, and then we're going to do like a roasted asparagus. And then the next meal, I'm going to show you that right now. I'm going to preheat the oven here to 400. I'm going to preheat that to 400, and that's going to be for our broccoli and our asparagus. We're going to bake them really simply. It's seriously so easy. And in this skillet, I have preheated right now on like a medium. I'm going to put in some ground turkey. So I have a 93% ground turkey. We're just going to brown this into crumbles, and you can do a basic seasoning on it. I'll probably do the same seasoning that I did on the chicken, which is the garlic powder, a little black pepper, and some of the Old Bay. You could just do salt and pepper. You could do whatever you want. You can make it taco flavored if you want. I'm just going to keep it really simple. That's what I want for the week. And we're going to pair this with roasted broccoli and black beans. So you'll notice with the meals that I make, I always have a protein. All my meals are very protein based. And then I usually pair them with a carb of some sort and a vegetable. Okay, as we have the meat going over there, we're going to get our vegetables going. So I have 2 sheet pans here, and I'm just going to spray them with a nonstick cooking spray. I'm going to use the olive oil one I have here. You can absolutely use just oil. Just keep in mind, anytime you add oil, you are adding fat. So if you are trying to follow a food plan of any sort or macros, you always want to take into account your cooking oil. All right, so we have some broccoli here. And the easiest way that I like to do this is just grab a knife, and I just hold the stem, and I just kind of cut down so that all the little florets just fall right on my pan. I'm not cutting onto the pan or anything, literally just getting them so they fall off. And then I'll just break them apart even further if I want them smaller. Super simple. And I just want to cover this pan in a single layer. And that should be good. We'll do the other one. Now you notice the meal prep that I do, I try very hard to use the least amount of dishes as possible. Because what happens is I usually end up running this into dinner time and then into the bedtime for the kids. And like, there's just so many things going on at once. If I make way too many dishes, I leave my husband with a massive pile of dishes the next morning and it drives him a little crazy. But sometimes that's just the way it goes. So if I can use the least amount of dishes possible, the better. So I'm just going to get all these, maybe rip off that big chunk. Those stalks for the broccoli are, of course, edible, but I don't really include them in here. They can be kind of tough, which is fine. But okay, so we have our broccoli in a single layer, and then we're going to put our asparagus on this one. All right, I'm just going to set these here real quick so I can show you. With asparagus, these ones are actually nice and thick. Sometimes they can be really thin, which will be harder to do this with, but when they're really thick, what you want to do is grab it by like the middle of the stalk and by the end. And the most tender spot where it breaks is going to give you the best piece of asparagus for cooking. This part is going to be really fibrous and hard to cook, hard to chew, and really kind of not great. Can you use it? Yeah, absolutely you can. But it's not going to give you the best flavor and texture. So you want to find the natural break where it snaps. That is where sometimes they snap like super easy. See how I'm holding the center and then just allowing it to snap wherever it wants. So we're gonna do that with all of these. All right, so we have all our asparagus over here. These, I'm going to add a little bit of actual olive oil on these. Just a little bit, I don't need a ton. We're going to add just a little bit, a little drizzle. And I actually like to get the oil actually on them, almost like massage it onto them a little bit. I like the flavor of olive oil with asparagus. I feel like it creates a richer asparagus as opposed to with these broccoli. I'm just going to spray them with the cooking spray. I just don't think they need a bunch of olive oil, and they can get kind of soggy. All right, and then the broccoli here, we'll do that nonstick cooking spray. Just give them a light spray on top, just so they have a little moisture on top. And then I'm going to season both of these. You can season however your heart desires. You could put some like minced garlic in there. You could put some onions in there. I'm just going to do, for the sake of time, we're going to do garlic powder. I'm going to do garlic powder on both of them. And I just like sometimes like a simple like salt and pepper. So we're going to do, what do we have up here? Okay, so we got a pepper here. And then I have some salt here. This is just a kosher salt from Redmond's Real Salt. I seriously love their salt. It's so good. Don't be afraid of salt. You need salt in your diet. So our vegetables are ready to go in the oven now. The oven is at 400. I'm going to put both of them in there at the same time. I'm going to let them go for about 15 minutes or so. I like them to have a little bit of that like black char on them. Char that's flavor. And so as long as they have a little bit of color on them, you can pull them out anytime. I mean, really cook them to your liking. If you want them burnt to a crisp, go ahead and do that. The broccoli will get soggy. The asparagus will get soggy too, but it takes a lot longer. But if you just allow them to stay really nice and bright and vibrant and still have that like tender to bite texture and have that little bit of browning char on it, they're so good. I love simple roasted vegetables. So this is a really, really, really great way to get in your green vegetables and make them flavorful without adding a ton of stuff to them. Okay, so our turkey is almost fully browned up here. I seasoned it with a little bit of salt and pepper and some garlic powder. Think about ground turkey, especially this is a 93% lean. It can get kind of dry. So if you feel like you need to add an oil to keep it a little more moist, go ahead. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to handle the dry turkey. But if you feel like it needs it, go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that all of our components are mostly done, our vegetables are still in the oven, but those are almost done. All of our food is cooked. Now we just need to let it cool down a bit, and then I'll package it up and I'll show you what each meal actually looks like. Then we're going to make some overnight oats, which are seriously so easy and is also super delicious. And that's going to be our breakfast for the next couple days. Trying to record in this house is so bizarre because I've been trying to work on this video all day. It is now 9:40 and I'm just finally packaging up this food. So I'm going to show you up close. Everything is all ready to go, ready to be portioned out. All I need to do is put it in its containers. And that's the super easy part. And you can customize that however you need it to fit your macros or your portion sizes, however you want. I'm just going to show you them all put together for space reasons in my kitchen, but I'll show you all the food and then I'll put them all together, all laid out all pretty. Okay, so here we have, I did condense these onto, so these have been sitting here for a while and I munched on a bunch of them. But we have the roasted broccoli here, and see it does have some nice little color on it. And then we have the asparagus, and then we have the ground turkey, end of the chicken, end of the sweet potatoes, all this like watery looking stuff over here, because these have been sitting here for a little bit. That's actually sugar. That is so seriously good. I can't even begin to describe how delicious these are. You really just got to try it yourself. I have my scale because I'm going to weigh some of these things. And then I have 1 can of black beans here that have just been rinsed, and I'm going to portion that out between a few meals as well. Okay, so here we have some of the prepped meals. So these two are exactly the same. These are the chicken, sweet potatoes, and asparagus. This one is just chicken and sweet potatoes. These two are very similar with the black beans and the broccoli, but then the two different protein choices here. And then this one's a combination of the protein and then the black beans and the broccoli. So you can have variety with just a few items. And then when I go to eat these, I could put like a sauce on them, like salsa or something. Oftentimes I just eat them plain like this, but salsa is really good on like this one in particular. Sometimes I'll put like mustard or something on these. So you can customize that however you desire. I'm gonna make some overnight oats really quick. I store my rolled oats in this big container. These containers are amazing, by the way. So I like to use rolled oats. I think that quick oats get too soggy, and rolled oats, they kind of keep a nice texture. And I use the small, what are these? The small mason jars. I always forget what, are these the pint? These are the pint, I think. And I put 1/2 cup in there. So this is a 1/4 cup. It's all bent and broken. I put a 1/2 cup in there. Okay, and I'm gonna make these ones like peanut butter flavored. So I have this like peanut powder. I actually haven't used this in a long time. There's lots of different brands that make this stuff. This one is Crazy Richard's 100% pure peanut powder. So I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons. I think that's the serving size. 2 tablespoons for each of these. Usually I'll just do like cinnamon and like this monk fruit sweetener stuff. But we're going to change it up today. We're going to make them peanut butter. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of that in each one. And then definitely need some sweetener. So this peanut butter powder is not sweet. I don't think there's any sugar in it at all. Nope, just peanuts. So typically I'll put, you can put like honey in it if you want honey or maple syrup or something like that. But today I'm going to use this. You can buy this whole earth plant-based sugar alternative at Costco in this really massive bag. And it's really helpful for a lot of things and it tastes really good. And it's a nice alternative if you need something sweet but don't want added like carbs. So I'm going to use, I think I'm just going to use 1 tablespoon for each. 1 tablespoon for each. Now we're going to fill these up with water. All right, so I'm going to fill it up. I might have to let it sit for a second so it can soak down. You can use a bigger container. I mean, I like the little ones because they're easy to eat out of. But you're going to fill it all the way to the top of water. It might take a second to let the water run down to the bottom. Now, if you do use a bigger jar, you're going to want to measure so it's like just, your water is just above where your oatmeal sits, but you want your oatmeal completely submerged. So I'll move that for you so you can see it better. Okay, so then I'm going to put the lid on, give it a shake. You can see it's completely submerged in there. That's what you want. So now overnight, I'm going to put this in the fridge. And overnight, all the oats are going to soak up this liquid. And they're going to be delicious peanut butter overnight oats. Okay, so I just got to work after a workout this morning. And I have one of my pre-prep meals here. I have the turkey one. I'm going to eat this for breakfast. Yes, it's 9:15 a.m. and that's okay. We're going to eat broccoli for breakfast. Broccoli, beans, and the ground turkey that we made. And I'm going to show you. So what I usually put on this, which I'm kind of low on right now, is I love this Jack's Cantina salsa. I get this at Costco, and this stuff, I can eat it by the spoonful. I think it's so delicious. But I just cover this in salsa. So if you get a salsa that's just kind of a traditional salsa, there shouldn't be much, if any, sugar in it. If you do like a pineapple salsa or like a sweet salsa, it's going to have more sugar in it. So keep that in mind. But just a basic salsa like this, I mean, you can douse it in this stuff. I use honestly like probably a half cup, sometimes maybe to a full cup of salsa because I just love it so much. And that's, it's only 5 calories for 2 tablespoons. So I'm probably putting like maybe 50 to 70 calories of salsa on here, which is not a lot when it comes to like a sauce. But it gives this a lot of flavor and it's super delicious. So some people will heat up their food. When it comes to pre-prepped meals, that's completely up to you. I don't like reheated chicken. So if I have chicken, most of the time I'm eating it cold. I think reheated chicken is disgusting. Turkey, it's already kind of a dry meat when it's lean. And so I also don't really heat that up. And I have no problem eating cold food, but feel free to heat yours up. I don't have a microwave at home, so if I was eating these at home, I'd for sure be eating them cold. But you can put them in a pan or whatever, or definitely put them in the microwave. I do have one here at work. I don't often use it. Just gonna eat it like this. And that was the rest of the salsa. Otherwise, I totally would have probably put more on there. But it's super delicious. I'm really excited actually to eat this. It is very well balanced and will help me towards my fitness goals. So hopefully all that was super helpful on how to get in some really easy meal prep for your week. Honestly, I'm a busy mom, and the only way for me to meal prep is to make it very hands-off and easy, and also very versatile. So these things can all be incorporated into a family meal if I need to. Otherwise, they're wonderful by themselves. So thanks so much for watching. You guys have a wonderful, blessed day, and stick around because I have plenty of more where this came from. Heck yeah. Mm-hmm.